it's when the towers came down, I said, we just lost more people now than we did in Vietnam. If there's 50,000 people in these towers, let alone the response. I can't even believe that I made it out, and I was only one out of 3 guys that I was with. Everyone else that I was with perished that day. If you watch the 9/11 tribute films, all the guys that we walked in with, me and one other guy were the only ones that came to make it out. Everyone we walked in with died that day. It was horrible.
Trevor Milton. I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Sociology.
Chidozio Sandu, and I'm currently a junior.
Blanca Schneider, student development specialist.
I'm Lillian Park, and I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Psychology.
My name is Rita Buttermilch, and I'm associate professor in the School of Business, and I teach accounting.
Laura Anker, and I am the director of the First Year Experience Program.
My name is Tamika Daniel, and I'm a current junior.
Sharif King, I'm a senior.
My name is Don Mahoney. I'm a junior here at SUNY Old Westbury.
Raleigh O'Peary Buchanan, Dean of Students.
Joseph Loretz, police officer at New York State University Police.
On September 11, 2001, I was teaching my accounting class at 9 a.m. It started in the Dewey Building in Academic Village, and it was supposed to be an ordinary day.
I was getting ready for school, and Carl Grossman, who teaches journalism here but also lives on the east end of Long Island with me in Sag Harbor, called me up and said, Laura, turn on the TV immediately. He knew that I'm terrified of airplanes, and he just called up to say an airplane just hit one of the towers, thinking that it was somebody flying badly, a small airplane. Called me, I turned on the TV, saw that, called him back and said, Carl, it's more than that.
Just got out of bed, was getting dressed for work. I was turning the TV on, and at that point, one plane had hit the tower, and they were just saying, oh, a little Cessna hit the plane. I thought, that's odd for New York, for a plane to just hit the building. So I was just watching it and getting dressed, and then literally as I watched, I saw the second plane come around and hit, at which point I immediately called our central office and asked for the associate director and said, there's a problem in New York. We're going to have a problem here. And so immediately just ran and got to work, and we went into crisis mode at that point.
The first images I saw were the planes going into the World Trade Center, and just seeing the destruction and seeing the plumes of the ashes and smoke and everything coming up, and people running and crying, and just this sense of chaos.
When I actually saw the plane hitting the towers, all I can see was like the plane, like the building falling, and the smoke and fire and everything, and then people just running.
Just people jumping out of windows, or probably on fire, and just the horrible scenes of everything that you could possibly think of happening, and just how heartbreaking it would be.
The thing that impacted me the most in terms of images was the walk home, because the police were pushing everybody out of downtown Manhattan, and they were pushing them over the bridges, over Brooklyn Bridge, over Manhattan Bridge. And to see everybody who was definitely in close range, covered in dust, covered in glass, covered in blood, tens of thousands of people just kind of aimlessly walking in Brooklyn because they weren't sure where to go. They weren't sure where they were being directed. And the train system had shut down at that point, so everybody was walking. And this particular memory that will always stick with me is basically walking shoulder to shoulder with all these folks who were there, and with my coworkers as well, because my coworkers didn't know how to get home. Tens of thousands of people, complete silence.
American flags on all the highways. The people, there was something about the people that everybody was really calm.
I remember New York becoming a small town. And I remember, because I worked in New York City for many years. And when you walk in New York City normally, there's no eye contact and everybody's focused on where they're going. And that just dissipated. Everybody, it was like, it was small town America. Everybody was trying to find out how we could help one another. There was so much compassion and courage. It was inspiring.
I mean, we can just kind of keep it alive, kind of keep the pride going, because a lot of people lost a lot of loved ones from on that day, and like just forgetting about it would just be terrible. I feel like we should just always remember what happened that day and always remember that other people, we could have lost somebody in that building if we went there the wrong day or something.
Students need to believe in the system, that they need to begin to trust, because not everything is tragedy and not everyone is from the countries where the people that were involved in this and created this situation, not everyone is a terrorist.
In everyday life, I just would say there's so many things that can harm you out here. So it's like, just to be safe, just to make sure that everybody you talk to is somebody that you can talk to, or somebody that won't hurt you or harm you or whatever, because I mean 9/11 just showed me that you never know what's going to happen. In 1 minute you could just be talking to somebody, and the next minute you could be gone.
When the initial planes hit, I was in South Tower. Excuse me. I went in with the FDNY Fire Marshal Ron Buca, who actually made it up to the 78th floor. Subsequently, he didn't make it out that day. We found him months later. We did a lot of search recovery, what we thought was going to be searching, and ended up just being recovery, not a rescue. All the guys that we walked in with, me and one other guy were the only ones that came to make it out. Everyone we walked in with died that day. It was horrible. It was only within the last 5 to 6 years I started getting acute asthma, which ended up turning into chronic asthma, microfibroplasia on my lungs. I'm on numerous inhalers, acid reflux disease from my esophagus from the dust. So I get checked at Mount Sinai every 3 months. I lost 45 friends that day, 9/11. So it's a surreal sight, but it's a comforting feeling that you could be with your family and friends and your family's husbands who passed that day, and give them some comfort, you know. Everyone's so caught up on the towers, and yeah, that was devastating. It was horrible. I mean, 3,000 plus. But I mean, look at Shanksville, Pennsylvania. You don't hear, you hear about it, but you don't hear that much about it. The Pentagon, a lot of people put an emphasis on the World Trade Center, and what they need to realize is, listen, it happened, in D.C., in Pennsylvania, in New York, and God knows how many other people